No, Vildred, no! I was just kidding, man. It's just a thumbnail. No! So typically, like many other gacha players, I typically stay away from games like Etheria Restart. This is a PvP-centric, turn-based RPG with a modern 3D art style, which is a pretty big jump from one of the most popular PvP gachas. Etheria releasing on June 5th and being developed and published by XD Inc., which is responsible namely for some popular idle games in the West like Ulala and Go-Go Muffin, as well as being responsible for Sword of Convaleria, so not all garbage. When it comes to Etheria's story, I'd say it's about as good as Limbus Company is at explaining its combat, which is that they do that. I found dialogue to really just exposition dump on you with a bunch of foreign names that I'm supposed to care about, but the game barely cares to really explain what these million foreign names even are. Character designs are actually pretty varied and I like most of them, really expressive and colorful. You'd think with all of that they'd really be expressive when it comes to dialogue. Well, keep thinking. When people think of strong stories, they think of powerful settings, dramatic characters, but this is nowhere to be found. I won't pretend that gachas are a bastion for evocative storytelling, but Etheria just seems to not really try. The story was definitely just something on the corporate checklist here, which is kind of funny when I compared it to Epic 7. Even many years later, I still remember the gist of its first arc, but I can barely remember what's happened so far in Etheria. The only saving grace are the animated cutscenes in Chaku. He's just so cute. Now for combat, it consists typically of at least 4 units, sometimes 5, and here I think it shines a bit more. Starting off, you'll set up your team, and at first I thought it was annoying but slowly found it neat, especially in content with multiple fights to let me swap to something like a healer on the fly. In combat, characters have a basic attack and 2 additional skills. Although simple, I do like that a lot of characters will neatly fit roles like reducing cooldowns or being eye candy. I spent most of my time just setting up a team to buff up my man Hellkid, most likely not optimal as I was using him as my primary DPS, but it was fun to set up comps to make him look like the star player. Turn order is based off of speed and you can see where everyone falls on the timeline on the bottom. Animations are all pretty fast, the flashiest being their 3rd skill, which is basically an ult, but they don't really go so over the top. Everything is still pretty quick, especially once you're at ×3 speed. A fantastic feature I want more games to feature is the easily accessible buff and debuff bar. You can very easily check any ongoing effects at any time and it is a godsend. Characters also equip these little robots that have unique effects on a cooldown to help diversify teams even further. These are basically like gear that you would normally gacha in some capacity for these games. Everything is pretty damn simple even for my monkey brain, so anyone can jump into the game at all skill levels and start messing around. Looking at progression, here is the real bread and butter of every PvP gacha, the ridiculous amount of things to upgrade and the never-ending process. I'll just throw up a list of everything to upgrade. Really, it's a marathon for every character. Leveling is slow, skill levels are slow, and gear of course is endless. These can also always be mitigated with a small loan of $1 million. A neat feature is being able to look at recommended partners and gear for characters based on early, mid, and late game. Seeing as it's updated daily, it seems to be the average of all players. Also dupes you can get 5, but every character has minimal upgrades and these are apparently not applicable in the real-time arena. As for content, we got the story, farm stages, limited events. These are kinda neat. Currently one is playing this RNG puzzle game to boost your rewards, and Champion's Call is betting on NPC faction battles throughout the day. This one is so on the nose though, as you can choose to bet premium currency or just gold. This is just straight up gambling. It's got doggo mode, a tower, and a mode based on elemental teams with some roguelike elements. If you played Go-Go Muffin, you'd be familiar with their little minigame-esque side events, like this one where you feed squirrels candy. And of course PvP, which is separated into AI, real-time, and the weekend tryhard one. This shit looks scary. AI is exactly what you'd expect. Pick an enemy from a list and get to work. Real-time arena matches you randomly with someone around your rank and you start the pick and ban phase. Players can't use the same characters. At the end, both teams get to ban 1 unit each to try and ruin strategies, and at higher ranks you can protect 1 unit from this. At early ranks this is pretty fun because I win, but no doubt this will become hell. Like, what the fuck does your team even do without Heinrich? Who'd you ban? You didn't ban Lily? The fucking healer of all things. We now got this big ass shield, don't you see? Don't you see, Max Blake? You fucked up. Oh, and there it is. The forfeit, baby. I saved the best for last. We've got your gear bosses. Currently there are 3 with varying gear sets and you'll spend most of your stamina here. There is no skips, but the way stars and auto stages work is the stars don't offer more rewards in this game, just dictate how many max auto runs you can set at a time. The cap is 10 at 3 stars, you just set it, start the battle, and you can leave to do other things. You can do any other content while auto runs are going, and you can close the game. I do wish they'd add in some limited skips that aren't completely pay to win, but that's just wishful thinking for these games. Last we got guilds. Most notably, you can request a shard for your characters once a day, and with 50 of these you get a dupe. There's also a boss that you smack in your own time and a mode called United Front coming in the future. If I had to guess, it's probably Guild Wars. Finally, let's take a look at the gacha, which is surprisingly simple. At the start, you'll have a banner to select one unit you want out of the generic pool of elemental units. Outside of that, we have 2 rate up banners and 2 standard, 2 for elemental units and 2 for moonlight. Dark and light. Elemental banners cost 100 gems per summon, and light and dark are 3 times that, so 300. I'm only personally familiar with Epic 7, so it worked similarly there. Light and dark units are incredibly strong, so they're more expensive and have lower drop rates. Definitely important to look at probabilities of each to familiarize yourself with them. SSR rate is 1%. Rate ups are 100% on banners, so no 50-50s. If you pull an SSR, it's exactly what you get, pity being at 100 pulls. In the standard pools, pity is at 80, and after 50 summons, the SSR rate increases. Not really sure to what though. They say overall drop rate is 2% including guarantee. In the elemental standard banner, light and darks can still be pulled, taking a quarter of the 1% rate. All in all, it's pretty straightforward, and when I played Epic 7 way back when, Moonlight summons were damn near impossible for any free-to-play players, so the fact that you can still just spend premium currency on these is at least a step in a better direction. So personally, being familiar with their last title, Go-Go Muffin, I played it on Server 1 for about 3 months, and I gotta say it was all handled pretty well as far as idols go. XD's experience with something like Sword of Convaleria would inspire hope for how they manage this game as well, but maybe not because its story is pretty damn good, whereas here I'd definitely say just smash that skip button. Which is wild because I read even the most garbage gacha stories, including this one, and I just see no value here. Etheria is also a very social game, having a world chat with multiple rooms, being able to converse when doing cooperative content, and BMing stickers during PvP. It's weird, normally I'm pretty anti-PvP specific gachas, but for some reason I'm having fun. I really couldn't point out one thing. I think just building characters and teams, playing the varied modes, and probably because I can still slap people in PvP. I'd say if you're already suckered into these kinds of games, you should definitely give it a shot. If you already avoid these PvP games, then definitely continue to do so. There's nothing really new here to make it worth your while. As for me, I'll definitely be playing come launch. Again, I can't really point out any reason why, but I did also enjoy Epic 7 for the first couple months when it launched, so we'll see how long I stick around. Thanks everyone for watching. I'll probably do at least a follow-up video when it officially launches, so look forward to that. Otherwise, as always, like, comment, subscribe, or don't. See ya!